Hello, I hope you're all well. Today, we will learn about the input system inside Unity. So let's start today's lecture. First, create a game object in the scene and add the FSM component on it. Playmaker provides us with actions for all types of inputs that we can use with our project. These player actions that you are seeing will be visible to you when you install the new input system package. If you are using a version below Unity 6, you will not get the new input system package by default, so you can install it through the package manager. There are also some samples there from which we can learn how the new input system works. We will see the new system in a little while, and how it works. For now, we will see how the old input system works. We can set the input-related settings by going to the project settings. In the project settings, we will find the settings related to both inputs that we can set. If we go to the play settings, we can enable either of these two input systems or use both together. It is better to enable both of them. All the actions related to the old input system will be available to you in the input category. Apart from this, touch-related input actions will be available in the device category. So, let's first learn how to use the system on the old and how it works. As an example, we will move this cube with the arrow keys on our keyboard on the x-axis. Add the get axis action in the state, and type horizontal in the axis name. Get axis returns us a float value that is between -1 and 1. Negative value represents left, and positive value represents right. Store this value in a variable to use it with other actions. Add a translated action and link it to the input variable in X. Preview the game and check your result. As you can see, We can move this game object on the x-axis with our keyboard input. Playmaker provides us with actions related to all input states. For example, we can check the button press state. Similarly, we can check the button release state as well. Similarly, we can use mouse input as well. For example, here, I will rotate this cube on the left mouse button click. Now let's know about the new input system and how we can use it. Create a new game object in the scene. I am adding a cube as an example. Right-click on your project and create an asset for input action. You can give this asset any name. Click on Edit and configure it. First, we have to add the control scheme. Within the control scheme, we can map the input devices that we want to use in the project, for example, keyboard, mouse, touch, or touchpad device. Let me tell you a little about the input system package. The new system package allows us to map different devices with our input actions. For example, if I want to control my character with a keyboard button or gamepad, the new input system allows us to easily map these devices with our input. Add a new action map and name it player input. Now create your input actions in this action map. I will repeat the same example. I will move the object with the arrow keys on my keyboard on the x-axis, and at the same also I will map the gamepad left stick to this action. Add the FSM to the game object. Now inside the state, we will add the action from the player category. One thing we have to remember is that in the input actions map, we created a value-related map, so we have to use value-related action here so we can read the value. I will add the float action read value to get the value from our input. As you can see, when I added a new input-related action, playmaker gave us a warning to add a missing component. You can click on this red warning and add the missing component. Now we have to add the input action asset we created earlier here so that we can use it. We will repeat the same example as we did with the old input system. Preview the game and check the result. As you can see, we are getting the same result. Let's proceed with developing a virtual joystick, so we can also use this project on our mobile devices. We will map the left stick of the gamepad to the on-screen stick component because we map the left stick for our input. Preview and test the game. As you can see, we can easily use both input keyboard and virtual joystick. Similarly, we can use the buttons the same way. Now let's talk a little about physics in Unity. Create a new 3D object cube. Now, if we take a look at Inspector on, right, we can see how this object is made up of different components. Now, by default, there is only a transform component on empty game objects. In Buildbox, we add nodes to the object mind map. To create its look in Unity, we add components. Unity provides separate components for both 2D and 3D game objects. Here we can see that we have a box collider component. The box collider component provides us box collision shape. We also have a sphere collider and mesh collider components if required. To add physics on 3D object, we can add a rigid body component to this object, which will then simulate physics on this object. On the rigid body component, you can enable kinematic or dynamic physics like we do in Buildbox. If we want to make our object static, then we can add only a collider component to it. If we want to get collision info at runtime, make sure one of our colliding objects has a rigid body component attached, otherwise we won't get the collision info. So remember this thing. One thing I would like to teach you is that on the box collider component, we have a trigger option. If we enable it, this box collider component will act like if collide node we have in Buildbox. Playmaker provides us with all actions that are required to listen for collision-related events. That's it for now. See you next time with a new tutorial. Take care, and happy game development to all fellow game devs.